So we're gonna go to Here to Serve. Pronouns are he, him in New York, and they're a theist. They want to say that you were never a Christian, which would be a fair statement to me. So I assume.
Yeah, I'm assuming they're talking about me.
You.
Yeah. What's up, Collie? You're live.
Thank you. I want to dispel this notion that there's such things as former Christians, because I believe that's an oxymoron. And it's quite interesting the way I've seen you guys use the word faith. Are you appealing to the parameters outlined in Scripture to determine what the word faith means? Because when I go to Hebrews 11:1, it says, faith is
the evidence of things not seen.
And the evidence, let me repeat one more time, evidence of things not seen. And 1 Peter 3:15 says that we are to give a reason for the faith that we have. So I heard you guys speak and use the word faith multiple times. Even the last guy that was speaking to you guys, he's not a Christian, he's a philosopher. Why are you using the word faith as in it doesn't imply evidence?
Well, I'll tell you this. Did you know that other people use words that Christians may not use in the same way? Did you know that faith was not invented by the word Christians? And that specifically the word that you're using there is Greek in origin. So the reason why people use faith in different ways is because people use words in different ways. And that's just the end of it. You know,
I do understand that, but if you're going to call yourself a Christian, you have to limit yourself to the parameters of what the Scripture qualified the word as.
Well, Jmike and ObjectivelyDan, neither of us are Christians, so we're not limited to any parameters. Honestly, we don't have to limit ourselves.
You guys said former. That's what I'm here to contend.
Yes,
former Christian. I'm not here to argue that you were Christians or are Christians today. That's not what I said in the beginning. I said former Christian. Why are you saying former Christian when you don't even know what a Christian is? That's the point.
Well, I was a former Christian, and yes, I am aware of the verse in Hebrews that describes what faith is. And when I was a Christian, I used faith in that context. And now I sometimes use it in that context if I'm talking. What evidence did I have? What do you mean?
Yes,
of the faith?
Because the word Hebrews 11:1 says evidence. So what evidence did you have that made you a Christian?
Well, I'm obviously didn't have evidence. That's why I'm not a Christian anymore.
Wow.
What do you mean?
Oh my gosh. So let's.
You knew you needed evidence, but you didn't have evidence, but you still were a Christian.
Yeah, the evidence was bad. There was no good evidence. That was the conclusion that I came to.
I don't know another context that he thinks you would leave Christianity. So how about this, right? We know your claim. We understand your claim. Why don't you make us true Christians so that we can't have this? I was never a Christian. At the end of the show, I become a Christian. I got a lot of books, a lot of Bibles that I've spent money on, and they can go to use now as a believer. So why don't you present the evidence? Since that's what you think is constitutive of faith. So you tell us, I'll give you as long as you need, as long as it's relevant to actual evidence.
No problem. Try not to mute me like you just did. Here's the thing.
I'll mute you again, right? I'll mute you anytime I want, because guess what? It's our show. We can mute you. You don't tell me what to do. You start your show. You can mute me on your show. That's how it works. Okay. So again, you go on with the evidence. If you trail off or you don't give something that's even close to evidence, I'm going to mute you. If you go to a 7-day week cycle and don't realize that the inference rule doesn't follow, I'm going to cut you off. So go ahead.
Evidence. I'm going to give you evidence, and let's see if you are able to control yourself and not panic. If I said I had control, here's the proof that I'm sovereign over every single person. I'm going to come with an exclusive proposition. I myself will come with
proposition,
which
an argument
all be submitted to.
Because an argument hold on. An argument is not evidence. You have evidence or you don't have evidence. If you're going to make an argument using logical propositions, that's separate from evidence. So if you're going to tell us, yes, we have an argument as to why we think you should believe, that's fine. But don't preface that with saying that your argument is evidence. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, you have to at least use the evidence in the argument, right?
I'm sorry. Are you suggesting arguments cannot lead to evidence?
No, he's asking you for the content within. Look, you can give an argument. You need to give the content within it.
Right? Yes.
No.
Evidence.
I'm going to give you the content of my argument, but are you suggesting
arguments don't
not lead?
No, arguments don't lead to evidence. I don't think so. Wow. I don't think that's how it works. Evidence leads to arguments. It's the other way around.
So arguments do not lead to evidence. So
no.
How can I even discuss what a person that doesn't have his head on the shoulders? Arguments do not lead to evidence?
Arguments don't lead to evidence. Evidence leads to arguments. Why would you argue evidence into existence?
Evidence leads to arguments. Evidence leads to...
Yes, evidence leads to arguments. That's what I said.
That's what he said.
First. So you're saying it's not the reverse. So when people go to court and they argue a point, isn't that...
Look. Guess what? No. They're using evidence to make their arguments.
Yes.
Lawyers do not come up with arguments first and say, okay, I got my argument. Let's look at the evidence now. That's not how that process works.
Oh my God. You guys, it's best. Look, it seems that you're in agreement. You're trying like just agree. Yeah, just agree with Dan here, since it seems that you are in that agreement, unless you think the other way works.
Wait.
And just move on.
Is there not an argument for gravity?
There's evidence for gravity.
What's the evidence for gravity?
What's the evidence for that? Here it is.
You should look at.
You got it for you on camera.
Yeah, you should look at the novel.
What's the evidence?
Yeah. You should look at the novel predictions that were produced. Right. They exist, right? I mean, like everybody knows the person, right? You can just look up Einstein. You can look up relativity, right? There's a lot of things you can do.
Yeah.
And the evidence, right, makes an argument for gravity. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you again. So let me ask you again a simple question. When it comes to gravity, isn't that an argument? When you say the theory of relativity, is that not an argument, a proposition, and then we're testing it, and that by that we say it's evident?
No.
True?
No, you're getting it confused. We don't pull the propositions out of our butts. We come up with the propositions because we look at the evidence first, right? It's the evidence that leads us to the conclusion. The conclusion it being, giving us our belief in that sense.
What do you think an argument is? You realize that they're inference rules that you use in conjunction with the evidence, right? Like how exactly do you have an argument if you don't have the inference rules in conjunction with the evidence you use? I mean, what's
an example of evidence that exists because of arguments? Like how does an argument, that doesn't really make any sense.
How about I give you one example? If I throw something in the air, it's going to fall back down. Here's my argument. There's a force pulling down the object. So that is what I can consider as gravity. That's my argument.
Okay.
What are you saying?
So your observation based on the evidence that you threw a rock up and it came back down led you to conclusion that gravity exists. So your argument is that gravity exists based on the evidence that you found. Right? Hello?
I'm sorry. That was an accident.
Okay.
I didn't mean to mute him.
That's what I've been saying from the very beginning. Thank you for agreeing now. Back to my original statement. If I make a proposition that's exclusive to me and you're all subject to it, and I say that's a sign of my sovereignty over you, is that not conclusive enough as evidence that I'm sovereign over you?
What? Wait, you're just saying it? You just say that you're sovereign? And that we're supposed to believe that's true because you say so? I don't understand.
Is that what I said? I'm gonna say it one more time.
I don't know. I'm trying to clarify.
Okay, I'm gonna speed this up. We're getting to the end of the show. When's the part that you make the argument for God, right? Because that's the part that I'm waiting on. So could you give the argument? Start with premise 1, right, and then tell me what the evidence you're using, and then if you know how an argument works, since you're an expert at it, you tell me what inference rules are used in the argument and how you're connecting them so that you can draw your conclusion. So what's premise 1? Go ahead.
Thank you for muting me. First of all, I don't have to put it in syllogistic form. I don't have to put it in a syllogistic form. Again, back to my original.
Do you know what an argument is? Right? rhetoric is one thing. Like I can just spew rhetoric, but if you want to actually formulate an argument, right? What an argument is like a trail of, you actually have to have a trail of reasoning with inference rules that are valid, and you have to have premises that are sound. If you don't have that and you want to concede you don't have that, that's fine. We'll move on to other callers, but don't say that you do and then don't do it.
Wait. Did you just suggest that every argument has to be in syllogistic form?
I'm asking you, do you have an argument? Do you have do you have a premise?
Every time I catch you, you're
yeah, your argument. Yes, your argument with that. Yes, form? Yeah, your argument needs to contain.
Made in the court of law, it has to be in syllogistic form.
No, your argument that's taking evidence, right? Yes, whenever you have a trail of reasoning, there needs to be a valid inference rules that are applied, and the premises need to be true. So yes, that's how they work. If you can show me another way that works, where that's not being done, go ahead.
Okay, right, so again, so I just proved that not every argument has to be put in syllogistic form. Thank you.
So, I don't think you did.
I don't think you did, but even if you did, even if you could, you failed. But so go ahead and just present the argument, because it's really annoying that you keep deferring to things that aren't the actual argument. So just give premise one, or just give the argument in your terms, even though I can just put it in to logic form and show what inference you make. I can do it for you if you're unwilling to do it.
Thank you again for showing that I don't have to put it in syllogistic form. So here's my argument.
You don't. I'll do it for you is what I'm saying. Since you can't.
Yeah, but I don't have to. Again, thank you very much.
No, so I'm saying you don't have to, but I will do it for you. So go ahead.
No, you can do it. But again, we don't. I don't have to put it in syllogistic form for it to be true. I'm here to say that is true or evident. So I don't have to do that. So here's my argument. If I said I am sovereign over you, and here's the sign, I will come with something exclusive proposition, and you will all be subject to it, submitted to it. Is that not enough to be evidently true that I'm sovereign over you?
What?
It depends on. I don't even know.
Don't understand. Let me repeat one more line.
No, I don't. What the hell do you mean sovereign over us? Does that mean that we're like you make us go to the store and we have to buy you whatever you want? What does that mean?
Yeah.
Do we clean your house? Like, do we?
It's not our fault that you've reified nothing to anybody and you're just making words come out your mouth. What do you mean?
Okay. I'm sorry. The word sovereign means I rule over you. I'm sorry.
I know what sovereign means, right? I know what sovereign means, but what
you're saying? Wait, I don't
understand.
Let me have a step at this, Jmike, please. Okay, so you're saying you're going to make an exclusive proposition, and if you prove that proposition true, therefore you get to have sovereignty over us. I don't know how proving a proposition to be true gives you the right to tell me what to do. Like, where does that? What does that have to do with sovereignty?
If I made an exclusive proposition and that proposition subjugates you or submits you, you're submitted to that exclusive proposition, and
what does that mean?
It would be the sign of my sovereignty over you. Isn't that not?
What does that mean?
That I am.
Oh no, yeah, I see what he's. I see what he's saying. I see what he's saying.
What is he saying, Jmike? Explain it to me.
It's really, really, really bad. So the reason that if I accept a proposition and you present the evidence to me, and that's the reason why I accept it, no, you don't have sovereignty over me. You presented independent evidence that, guess what? If you didn't exist or you died and someone else presented it, or I stumbled upon it myself, it just means that the evidence convinced me. It doesn't mean the evidence has power over me. It doesn't mean that the person has sovereignty over me. Right? I was the one that came to the conclusion that the evidence and the inference rules follow. So what you're saying is just like totally out of left field, not even like related to anything. Because you would agree that if the proposition is true, the evidence doesn't matter who presents it to me. It doesn't matter if you put it in a nice little bow for me or on like a platter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't give sovereignty. It's such an incoherent point.
Wow. I said if I came with an exclusive proposition that you're all subjugated to, as I said, this will be the sign of my sovereignty. Exclusive proposition. That exclusive means is only me. Okay, buddy.
What does it mean?
You will be subject to it. Isn't that not proof that I am sovereign over you?
What does it mean that I no? Hang on. What does it mean that I have to?
Inference is so bad. Sorry.
What does it mean that I have to be subjugated to a? Oh my God.
Oh my God.
What does it mean that I have to be subjugated to a proposition? This is what I am confused on. What does that mean?
I don't think it's worth the time. But
what does that mean? I'm subjugated to a proposition.
It goes back to my friggin' 7-day cycle argument. You're subject to it because he's predicted it. That's my point. You're subject to it. It's exclusive to the.
What does that mean?
You're subject to it as a sign.
What does that mean?
Keep it. Don't you keep a 7-day cycle, you friggin' moron, nincompoop? Don't you keep a 7-day cycle?
So because
you're not gonna call someone a moron on the show. It's your one warning, and
yeah,
in fact, I shouldn't even have to give you that. You should just know not to do that.
Because I keep a 7-day cycle, that means I'm subject to it. But that doesn't mean that like it has rulership over me.
I said it. He predicted it, and it's exclusive to him. Stop diverting and stop.
Okay.
I'm
awesome. We're gonna remove him, but I'm actually gonna address what he's saying because by parity of reasoning, he's subject to any science. So all scientific discoveries, I don't know if you know this, they're not making metaphysical claims, right? So if by parity of reasoning, by your reasoning, that it's the case that these novel predictions don't bake in these metaphysical things like you're doing with the 7-day week cycle and it proving Jesus and all this stuff. If that's the case, wait a second, that means that science is sovereign over you and materialism is sovereign over you because it had an exclusive proposition you didn't know about and it convinced you of it, unless you want to make the extra assumption, which is that God was responsible. And if you want to do that, then you have to demonstrate that proposition because that's how propositions work, right? You don't get that. So call back when you don't have a weak argument like your weak arguments in the past, or call back when you actually have evidence or you know how evidence works in an argument, and we'll deal with it accordingly. But those inference rules don't work. They're really, really sloppy. Go back to the drawing board.
I was very caught up on the subjugated to a proposition. Personally, I'm a dom, so I don't really get I don't do much of the sub stuff. So being subjugated like that's not for me. I will say that.
Yeah. Well, it's you're not going to get all the best arguments all the time, Dan. So.
No, you're not. But you can at least try to make sense.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I didn't realize at first it was Calendar guy that was talking to us, and then the calendar came up, and I was like, yes, Calendar man. So I get that. But hey, if you have a proposition that you want to subjugate us to, you can try doing that by calling into the show next time. We are out of time today, but we do appreciate everybody that's called in so far.